Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining the IRQB webinar. We will be starting very shortly, but before we do, you can find your way to the Mentimeter. This webinar will be an interactive webinar, so you can also submit your questions, and we will also be very interested in hearing your opinion on the questions that we ask. So for that, please go to menti.com and use the code that you see in the top of the slide that I'm showing. There is already a warm-up question ready for you, asking from what type of organization do you come from. So go ahead, answer to that one, make your way to menti.com, and we will be starting very shortly. Thank you. Hello, everyone, to those who have now joined us. This webinar will start very shortly. And before we start, I would like to introduce you to menti.com. This is an interactive platform where you can answer to the questions that we ask you, and you can also ask questions from our speakers. So make your way to the platform and use the code that you see on the top of the slide. And this allows you to interactively take part in this webinar. But without further ado, I will give the floor to Bernhard Kaufmann, who will make an introduction to our webinar today. Enjoy. Bernhard, I believe you're on mute. I think you should unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you, Arthur. Good morning, America. Good afternoon, Europe, and good evening, Asia. Welcome to this first IRQB webinar. I'm Bernard Kaufmann. I'm the IRIS General Manager and IRIS Coordinator, and today the moderator of this webinar. I'm happy to see that we are quite over 100 people attending to this webinar, and that's a very encouraging point. We hope that you are all safe and healthy in this difficult period. Thus, we saw also the necessity to answer questions raised by the global rail sector. As you have already seen, this will be an interactive session where we will evaluate with you live different aspects. You can also raise questions in the chat, and I will then ask later on our speakers to answer the main questions you have raised. Next slide, please. So as you can see, it was already 2 years now, I would say, that the International Rail Quality Board was created by the leading companies in the rail sector, in the worldwide rail sector. So as I said, already 2 years, a lot has been achieved. We had several working groups. Today, 13 working groups are active in this field. We have communicated and created some new tools for communication. We come back to that later on. And also, we have worked on the rules, on the IRIS rules, update of the rules, and we have published guidelines to help the industry, the operators, and also our assessors to have a better understanding on the principle and the issues in the rail sector. So for all that, please have a look on the IRQB website. And as said, at the end, you will have all the necessary detail for that. Next slide, please. Before we really start, I would like to get also your expectation for today. So as you have done previously, please use the link and give your answer to this question. And then we will shortly start with the speakers. So while it is you're continuing to express your expectations, we already see that there are two main areas of interest, and I let the speakers also take this into account and to specify their intervention on these two important elements. Next slide, please. So your speakers today will be Dr. Stefan Ziegler from Siemens Mobility, Jérôme Motron from Wabtec Fevlet, Mareike Vandenberger from SNCB, and Yana Jung from Unife Risk Management Center. I will let them also introduce more deeply themselves when they will start their part. And now I would immediately leave the floor to Stefan Ziegler. Stefan.
Yeah, thank you, Bernard. Hello to the audience and thank you for joining. My name is Stefan Ziegler. I'm Head of Quality in Siemens Mobility and as well Chairman of the International Rail Quality Board, IRQB. And as an introduction, I would like to explore a little bit about quality management within the IRQB, what we're doing, how we're managing quality, and how do we manage quality from the IRQB point of view on. Of course, with IRIS certification. Next slide, please. But how does IRIS certification do? And when we have a look on the left-hand side on the blue one, IRIS comprises a set of requirements which business processes are important to be established by a company. An example for such processes are RAMS LCC or project management, which are named here as mandatory processes and key processes. Requirements how these processes should be established are laid down in the standard ISO TS 22163. And by establishing business processes as defined as per the selection and per the requirements in ISO TS 22163, we as IRQB are convinced that the company becomes a reliable partner. And there's a good point to switch to the next slide. Where I have listed some of those processes like risk management, KPI-based process management, prevention and continuous improvement cycles, stable processes as a result of this, having a good customer relation due to a clear performance focus and quality, project management as an example. All these are laid down in ISO TS 22163 and will lead to a resilience of the company. And of course, in a crisis mode, all these processes help as well to be well positioned and be a performant player in the rail industry with lean, stable and performant business processes, ensuring economic performance and a high product quality, also in a crisis. So I think this question can be answered by asking oneself, whom would you keep as a partner in case of a crisis, making business shrinking? Of course, it's a reliable one, the good one who keeps his promises. And now we can go one slide back, please. And having a look on the green side of the last slide and answering the question, why IRIS and why choosing IRIS as the relevant certification and in rail industry. So I would ask a question again, what would you expect from a quality certificate? Should it only prove that the certified company established a quality management system? Or should it also prove that the quality management system is effectively working? So if I would buy, let's say, a car, I would not only expect that I get a car, but also that it's driving, so it's working. And I think this is very important, seeing on the left-hand side of the green chart where it's written enabler, it's proving the existence of the business management system. And the right part with customer perception and performance evaluation, it's proving the capability of the company and the effectiveness of the business management system. So IRIS is the only certificate that provides you with a statement to what extent the audited quality management system is working or not. I think this is very performant and this is very important and would be our answer to the question, why IRIS? Next slide, please. And one slide further, please. So who's IRQB? So where did you register for this webinar? IRQB is an independent, international and open consortium of today 22 leading companies of the rail sector. We are operators, system integrators and component supplier. IRQB is based on a consortium agreement and organizes and finances itself. It is not part of UNIFIR or any other association, and like this, IRQB is independent. As Bernard already said, IRQB was founded 2 years ago, 2018, and the reason for establishing IRQB was that there was no other association or entity comprising on an international level all these 3 stakeholder groups. But as you know or can imagine, for quality in rail, this can be only an international topic and needs to be driven internationally by all of the stakeholder groups, since rail is an international business. So thank you for your attention and enjoy the next presentations.
Bernard, I'm sorry, I think you're on mute again.
Thank you, Stefan, for these clear messages. Let's now hear about the example of the rail industry. Jérôme Mautron from Waptec Fevlet will give us some insight. Jérôme, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bernard. I'm pleased indeed to join this webinar. I will firstly introduce myself. I'm Jérôme Mautron. I'm the Director of Quality for Waptec Transit. Indeed, I joined 7 years ago, Fevlet, in various quality positions. I will also introduce Eric Dambrun, who is our Quality Management System Director, and he will be part of the question-answer session. Also, as you know, I will introduce Fevlet Waptec. We are a leading global provider of equipment, system, digital solutions, and value-added services for the freight and the transit sectors. Our values are based on safety, innovation for customers, operational excellence, and teamwork. Indeed, our quality is DNA, and this is leading to our strong involvement to IRQB. Fevlet is a member of IRQB since the creation in 2018. We have right now 35 sites which are fully certified, and they are located in different regions of the world, Europe, North America, Asia, with different sizes. So you understand easily that quality and IRIS is a core value to us. Next slide, please. So I would like to share about our experience, how my rail company benefited from a focus on quality. Indeed, I would say this is a mutual benefit. We have take part to several working groups, and each time this as well full benefit in the 2 directions, means we have brought our expertise, and at the same time we have aligned our internal processes, and even this in advance. You understand that IRIS has a clear structuring role to us, and IRIS certification is in the center of our quality strategy. So to make you understand, this has benefits to our organization. So I would say 4 points which are quite logical. First, to increase the customer centricity. Voice of customer is in the middle of our organization. Therefore, we have also been able to reinforce the quality ownership, not only quality, talking about quality, but having this deployed through the whole organization and process owners. To support this, we have built what we call Waptec Management System, WMS, and this is embedding the IRIS requirements. So this Waptec Management System has helped us to implement this in a full way with different stage of maturity according to the factories. Therefore, to ease the deployment to our sites, we have created a toolbox, full complete toolbox, which is helping to go quicker into the implementation of sites, and therefore the implementation of IRIS requirement automatically. Can you go next slide, please? So tools and methods are really important for us, and I saw that in your expectation of this webinar, this is something important to you. And I would like to share with you what has been the highest impact to us. So we have selected 4 main points, but there are much more. Firstly, the problem-solving resolution method, which we have implemented quick response quality control, QRQC. This is supported by 8D, by factor tree analysis, and we are using an internal database which is called WebTech Incident Management. This database is helping to have a standard system everywhere in all our factories. And this has been also a real support during the COVID crisis, where all our factories are able to speak each other and to work remote. Talking about solving resolution method cannot be until we are not going to return of experience. And our quality system is including lesson learned through the QRQC step 2 and the implementation in our database WebTech management system. So we are sharing these good practices and this return of experience from factories to factories or applicable side, and we take benefit to upgrade our standards. Talking about standards, real implementation, and which was one of the first one, is linked to the project management. We have implemented what we call project management tool. This is based on IRQB principle. We are having phases, all requirements listed, and we are going through project validation committee. This has been really full benefit and supporting the implementation of a strong process for project management. And then risk management is we have done a full program of training to our teams in the last year, deployed in many functions, project, engineering, operation, quality, and in all our factories. So this you can see, that's just some example about some tools which have bring high efficiency. Can you go to the next page? So as a conclusion, indeed, we see a real positive effect. We have done reinforcement of the customer perception and process performance. And as a consequence, I would say I have set a clear target to my teams to assess at silver level during the next year. You understood it through the deployment of our tools in the same way. We've been able to standardize our process, align with the ISO TS, and that was also the way for us to harmonize the maturity of our sites. Therefore, through this process of continuous improvement, we have really improved our KPI for quality year on year. And I wanted to share this experience and will stay available for further questions during the question and answer session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jérôme, for sharing effectively this experience you had within WebTech family. Now we will switch to the next speaker. A key stakeholder within the rail sector is the operator or the railway undertaking. Marieke van den Berge from the Belgium Railway SNCB will present her point of view in this subject. Marieke.
Thank you, Bernard. So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Marieke van den Berge, Supplier Development Manager at SNCB and representing SNCB in the IRQB. Let me start my presentation by boldly stating that your daily mobility, mine, everybody's daily mobility, is strongly impacted by the global culture of quality in the rail sector, even if you don't take the train, because better trains and better service means more people in a train. More people in a train means less people on the road and a better daily mobility for everybody. SNCB is a national rail operator in Belgium and one of the founding members of the International Rail Quality Board. So why is quality so important to us and to our customers? First of all, because of its impact on safety. Trains are one of the safest transport modes, and we want to keep it that way. Global culture of quality is key to maintain and improve our excellent safety records. For example, all our suppliers of wheels and axles are IRS certified. Secondly, because of punctuality. Every single day, punctuality is a hot topic for our passengers. Lack of quality has a direct impact. To give you an example, a door that is suddenly not opening anymore when the train stops at the station. Passengers have to move to the next door to get in or out of the train. They lose time and the train cannot depart as scheduled. Immediate impact on punctuality because of lack of quality. The third why is sustainability. Trains are more and more sustainable than some other transport means. So by choosing the train, our customers are contributing to a better environment. Also at SNCB, we work on a better world for all of us. The project Sustainable Transport, Sustainable Work aims to reduce consumption of energy and water, reduce waste, reduce noise disturbance, have more paperless working, and do some soil remediation. We cannot achieve these goals without the participation of all our suppliers. We need our suppliers to come up with good quality solutions and first-time right quality products. Whatever the circumstances, we managed to keep trains running. During the Corona crisis, we had a dedicated team monitoring our suppliers' business continuity. Together with our suppliers, we managed to find solutions. In our vendor performance program, we have included an item on contingency planning. This is very important in times of crisis. As contingency planning is part of the requirements of ISO TS 22163, we know that IRS certification is helping our certified suppliers in realizing this significant advantage. So these were the 4 reasons why a global culture of quality is so important to us and to our customers. Let's now talk about how we contribute to a global culture of quality. Well, SNCB is member of the ISO working group that updates the standard ISO TS 22163. This standard includes all the ISO 9001 requirements and is extended with rail-specific requirements. SNCB is also a member of the IRQB. This global and independent consortium is open to key players in the rail sector. The IRQB has governance over the IRS certification assessment, a unique certification. IRS auditors are not only checking if there is a quality system, but they are also checking the performance of this quality system. Our goal is to shift from second-party audits to third-party audits. We will be doing less system audits ourselves. We will be more and more relying on IRS certification, especially on the silver and gold quality performance levels. Reducing the number of system audits creates a win-win situation, both for our suppliers and for ourselves. As we are handing over responsibility to IRS auditors, we want them to audit with our point of view in mind. We want them to understand our needs. We want them to assure that certified suppliers are performing as we expect them to perform. To realize this, customer feedback is essential. As a customer, we will have the possibility to give input to the auditors on quality and on-time delivery. To help customers, suppliers, and auditors, a dedicated IRQB working group is developing a guideline on customer feedback. Publication of this guideline is foreseen next year. Together with the other operators that are members of IRQB, we are promoting the use of IRIS certification worldwide to ensure high product quality. IRIS certification is helping our suppliers to increase their performance, to develop their reliability, and to be our trustworthy partners in a global culture of quality. As of next year, we will include IRIS certification and the quality performance level in the scorecards of our vendor performance program. If a company is IRIS certified, it will obtain a medium score for this criterion. Bronze, silver, and gold quality performance levels will, of course, be rated with higher scores. No matter the generation, you are our customers of today and tomorrow. It is for you that we invest in making the railway sector better every day. I would like to conclude that IRIS certification of our suppliers' railway quality management system has a positive impact on our safety, punctuality, sustainability, and business continuity. That is why a global culture of quality in the rail sector is beneficial for your daily mobility. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Marijke, for this approach. We will now have messages from the IRIS Management Center, which is on a daily business following all the development within the IRIS scheme. Jana Jung will address some key elements to you now. Jana?
Yeah, thank you, Benna, and welcome everybody from my side to our IRQB webinar. My name is Jana Jung, and I am working at the IRIS Management Center as an IRIS Development Manager. I am supporting Bernard Kaufmann and his team at the UNIFI. Today I would like to talk with you about the relation between high quality performance and a higher efficiency, attractiveness, and competitiveness of a company. I would like to link this to our IRIS certification quality performance levels that were already mentioned in the other parts as well. Especially in days like this, it is not always easy to implement a focus on high quality performance if concerns about health or the future are part of our day-to-day life. We at the IRIS Management Center also implemented some tools to support the IRIS certifications process in these struggling days. First, we implemented a remote audit procedure, which allows to perform audits according to ISO TS 22163 fully remotely. Secondly, it was the extension of the validity dates of all our certificates until the end of the year, so that there's some more time to perform the audits on time. And in addition, we also started with a fully remote auditors training next week. So yeah, I will go to the next one. As we have already done before, I would like you to participate at the Menti and say, how could your company benefit from a proof of high quality management? Perfect. I see you all want your customers to be really satisfied. Perfect. Yeah, we go to the next slide. The journey to high quality performance is not always an easy one. If you ask managers about maintaining a business management system, I guess at least some of them will take the view that it is time consuming and accomplishments are not always visible on short term. In addition, the acceptance of the top management is not always given in any case, and sometimes you may also have discussions or long-lasting and repetitive arguing every audit period. This is why it can happen that the journey to a high-quality performance can feel like climbing a mountain with the uncertainty of the view ahead. Maybe also concerns or uncertainties pass by during your way, and you are always not sure whether it will be cloudy or sunny at the mountaintop. So we will go to the next slide. To show you why the IRIS quality performance levels can help you on your journey to high quality performance, let me explain them to you in detail. The IRIS quality performance levels shall give an indicator on the customer orientation and the maturity of the organization's management system. Up to August 2020, all companies who received an IRIS certificate also reached the Bronze quality performance level. This is the basic level, and it is obtained when a business management system according to ISO TS 22163 is implemented and an assessment according to the IRIS certification assessment sheet was performed. Then, in September 2020, the Silver performance level was launched, and it implies a transparency on performance. This transparency is given during an audit in stakeholder analysis, customer feedback, performance evaluation, and KPIs. During our test phase from September 2019 to August 2020, approximately 100 companies fulfilled all the requirements for reaching the Silver performance levels. They prove that they have a strong focus on customer perception and a high quality performance. As you see on the right, the Gold performance level will be launched in September 2021, and it can be achieved by clear evidence of optimized customer perception. Based on the high level of performance transparency, it is evident that the audited organization meets the customer requirements continuously, and it has a highly developed business management system. This is why they are described as top performing. Next one. As the IRQB is a consortium of equipment manufacturers, system integrators, and rail operators, the quality performance levels are accepted by the whole rail sector. And this is why they can also support you in your business. They give your customers the trust in your quality performance and your customer orientation. It can lead to a higher efficiency and a wonderful view from the mountaintop of high quality performance. So thank you everybody for your participation. And now I will hand over to Bernard for the question and answer session.
Thank you very much, Jana. Thank you also for first highlighting all these aspects and highlighting with this last picture is very, very efficient, but also introducing already the next topic, as you mentioned now, we will enter in the question and answer session. I got several questions already, and I see that there are also sometimes really directed to some of the speakers. The first one, I think it is addressed to Marieke. The question is, which improvement do you see as an operator for the IRIS focus on customer perception?
Thank you, Bernard. That is a very interesting question. In fact, we see the difference, especially, for example, in qualified suppliers. We have several qualification systems. And I'm responsible of that part. And what I see is that those companies that are already IRIS certified, we do not have to explain them certain things. They are already customer oriented, and they, as it is included in the rules of IRIS and of the auditors are checking this too. For example, contingency planning is one of those things that you see when a company has an IRIS certification. This is much more customer oriented. They're not only thinking about how can I run my business, they are thinking about how can I continue to deliver to my customers as they want to be delivered. And it's a different mindset, it's a different point of view that I see each time again in the IRIS certified companies. That is why we think it is very important that more of our suppliers, of our supply chain, go this way and get IRIS certified. I hope this answers the question.
Thank you, Marijke. Then the next question, I will address it to Stefan. I think this is very actual because it's linked to your sponsorship of the working group, the first working group. The question is the following: how is the quality of the IRIS auditors ensured?
Yeah, thank you, Bernard. Thank you, Bernard, for the question. The quality of the IRIS auditors is very important for us. Marijke mentioned it already. The IRIS auditor should act as one of our colleagues. So being as trustful as a employee of SNCB, as trustful as an employee of Siemens or all of the other 22 IRQB member companies. And therefore, first of all, we have an intense education of the auditors who are already pre-qualified, of course, by the certification bodies to be a 9001 auditor, having a background in rail business, getting then qualified by the IRIS Management Center for the specific tasks and trainings. And finally, what we are doing, and I think this is the important step and differs from for example, 9001 auditors, we have an intense witness auditing program with witness auditors out of the industry and out of the operators who are witnessing the audits. We are working very closely on this with the auditors and having a close feedback loop and an improvement cycle running on this. To bring them to a level where we can say they are as trustful. If I send one of my colleagues from the supplier quality to the audited company and get the feedback, I can trust as much as to my colleagues to the auditors. This is our expectation, and this is towards we are working especially with after the entire qualification with our witness audit program, and we have within the in IMC for this reason a master witness auditor who is coordinating and calibrating all the witness auditors, and by this we are working strongly on the quality of the auditors.
Okay, thank you, Stefan. So I have a question for Fevle about some typical examples of actions you have implemented in your different sites worldwide to really overcome the current situation in terms of pandemic, and also to ascertain that customers are served with the right quality still despite of this. Have you more clear example on that, Jérôme or Eric, maybe?
Yes, Bernard. So indeed, I will start, and Eric will go on. Indeed, we have implemented and also linked to the IRQB some remote audits to our supply chain and also internally. We have defined standards linked to these remote audits, and this has been really important during this COVID crisis. We have also taken benefits of all our tools that we had implemented before, like the HoloLens glasses, which were really helping during this period to have the connection with the real part of the business, as we could not go to the factories during this time. Eric, would you add something?
Yes, Jérôme, thank you so much. Hi to everyone. So I think, you know, there are plenty of very, very good things on the ISO TS referential and in this IRIS certification. One of them, and I think this is the DNA of the standard, is clearly risk management. And among the topics we have within this process, there is one which is the contingency plan. And as soon as we start having some COVID situation, we use this process that we establish within the pure quality system. We derive that process also to use that for the own sake of the safety of the people, but also to make sure that we will still go on delivering our customers, making sure that for each and every cases, we would have regular conf call with the customers to make sure that proactively, before we may have the rupture, we may have contact, we may have discussion with our suppliers on one side and also with our customers. So altogether, again, this is a good view where the tools we deployed for this IRIS certification are really very, very, I would say, splitted inside the organization and are used now for everyone and by everyone to help different purposes, including this COVID situation.
Bernard, I believe you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry, I know. I'm not yet at that slide. I have still some questions because questions are still coming in, and now I have a set of questions for coming from the supply chain. So I think the first one is I will ask Stefan to answer. Is the fact that still a lot of second-party audits are carried out, even considering the ISO TS certification. How can we proceed further to trust only the third-party certification?
Yeah, thank you, Bernard, for this question. This is surely a matter of trust and a matter of experience. So for us now, the silver certification period is quite new. In the IRQB, we are intensively validating the audit quality, the audit feedback, and step by step, I can say we as an system integrator, we are turning back our second-party audits with regards to good third-party audits from IRIS. Mainly for IRIS, of course, as already said, it's a matter of trust. There's no trust in the 9001 certificates because of the conformity assessment method, which is not asking for performance, only for existence of the system. And now we're getting step by step more trust in the third-party audits and can reduce by this step by step more our second-party audits, which is very attractive for us as well, because it's, of course, as you can imagine, a matter of cost, which we tend to reduce. And but we still see, of course, as well that there are some suppliers which we simply have to help being performant. So these colleagues will not lack of work, but we can reprioritize them from audits to supplier management. But summarizing, it's a matter of trust, and step by step we will reduce second-party audits.
Thank you, Stefan. So another question linked to the supply chain management and rather here the customer feedback. So I know that most of you are also in the position of customer, but maybe Marieke, you can take this one. It is difficult to get answers on a questionnaire for the customer feedback when we send it via a web platform. How can this be improved?
Yes, we are aware that customers that are not part of the IRQB don't always understand the need of the suppliers to have this customer feedback. And that is why we want to, this webinar is also organized not only to have more awareness created for the suppliers, but also for the customers, for the rail operators, It really is a different way of having a relationship between a customer and a supplier in the rail industry, that we want to build this up. And yes, you can send it through a web platform, but as a supplier, there are many more means to get your customer feedback. I'm sure every supplier has regular meetings with his important customers, and it could be a face-to-face meeting. It could be an online meeting in this COVID times. I know a lot of suppliers are sending out questionnaires. It's not always easy to get an answer, but if you give a telephone call to the person that has to fill it out, and if as a you explain to your customers why you need this feedback and why it is so important, I'm sure that the response rate will be quite higher than just sending out through a web platform. Back to you, Bernard.
Yeah, thank you, Mareike. I have now a question for Jana, linked to the fact where it can be visible to see the silver awarding. And by the way, are they already silver awarding since 1st of September? And how to also get access for a customer to the detailed results on a report?
Okay. So I will first answer the first part of your questions. Yes, there have already been some companies who fulfilled the silver requirements since beginning of September. We all got them, we evaluated them, and they will be published soon. So the second question is then related to the publishment. So all the quality performance levels will be published on the portal. And if you want to get the status of one of your certain suppliers, for example, you can have a look at the portal. I'm not sure if the question is already also related on the customer feedback that is collected for the audit. So for example, for the gold performance, it is also necessary for the companies to give feedback from assorted customers that the auditor and the organization choose together during the audit. I hope this answers the question, and if you have any addition, Bernard, don't hesitate.
Thank you, Jana. No, for me, it seems to be clear. I have another, it's a question, and I would say, Stefan, it's also an idea of improvement already. The point is, main KPIs are communicated via different formats, time, templates between the companies. Would it be possible to define a common standard and platform to manage this?
That's indeed a good point. Am I online? Yeah, that's indeed a good point. We are constantly working on the improvement of IRIS. One thing we saw already that in some structures we are quite complex, where we already set up a working group doing these improvements to simplify the standard, so the documentation of the standard mainly. And it's a good point as well, which we should take into account for the standardization of KPIs. On the one hand side, we have a KPI guideline, but I think to really accept this question as a proposal, we can further on working the standardization of the KPI, yes, indeed.
Thank you, Stefan. So as the time is running, I would pick the last question. And I guess there will be two answers to be given to this question. First is the question is oriented for SNCB, but I think, Stefan, you as well, you have also some details to add on that. The question is the following: how does voluntary IRIS certification come together with the ECM requirement, since this is a legal requirement? Does one have to implement both? So Mareike maybe first, and then Stefan for the next steps, I would say.
Yes, so indeed in Euro, the ECM requirements are a legal requirement. from the IRIS Management Center, they have been contacts with a European agency, railway agency, and it is about 70% of the requirements that are similar in ECM or in IRIS certification. So if you do first ECM certification and an IRIS certification or the other way around, 70% of the requirements are the same. And of course, I would suggest to suppliers to do both, to have ECM because it's a legal requirement, and IRIS certification because more and more operators are going to ask for this. I think IRIS certification has really an advantage in those points that are not foreseen in the ECM requirements, which we as a customer think it's very important to have.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I would like to support what Mareike said. So yes, in certification of both is necessary to keep this answer short and simple. Where I would contradict a little bit to the question is IRIS certification is not fully voluntary. And as Mareike said, both operators and system integrators are requesting IRIS as a prerequisite for being offerable at the different stages. So it's not fully voluntary. Yes, you need to have to certify both. If you got the experience from IRIS, you will have it much easier with ECM. And what Bernard mentioned, we are working on a kind of collaboration in between the European Commission and IRQB on this, because we have such big overlap in between both, whereas ECM is fully focusing on safety and is a legislation, and IRIS is focusing on quality, whereas basic structures are the same. So it would make sense to have a kind, let's say, for IRIS certified companies to get a certain kind of discount on the ECM certification or vice versa. This is what we are having had already as an idea, discussed with the ERA, and will work further on this, especially as soon as IRIS got from the ISO TS status into a full ISO, then it will be much easier. But it's definitely on the to-do list and an interesting point for the entire industry and the entire sector.
Thank you, Stefan. So as I mentioned, we are coming to an end, and we thank for all the questions you have raised. The last action I would like you to do is to effectively answer this topic, to find the next topic, because according to the amount of people interested, registered, and also participating to this webinar, it's clear also for us that there are other topics you want in so kind of 1 hour format webinar to be addressed. So please still continue to address your topic. We see currently there is a leader in a clear leader in this poll, and of course we will come very soon to you in this difficult period with further information. Meanwhile, I would like to thank all of you, the attendees of this webinar, the speakers. Thank you very much for your time, but also for your expertise. I hope that we have soon everybody on board of an IRIS certificate, or on board of a working group to help us to continue to develop the scheme and to promote the quality for rail. As you have understood by the different speakers, this is the main important point we have. And also, I mean, in the performance level, showing that the best in class in terms of quality also will continue to grow. To finish now, I would also let Arthur to remind you all our communication channels. If you need information, if you have questions, if you want to have further information also on, for instance, guidelines, as you see here, they are available freely also for the people and for all the stakeholders interested in rail business. Therefore, from my side, thank you very much. I hope that everybody stays healthy, and I wish you a very good quality in the rail sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much also from my end to all participants and of course to all of the speakers. Just one thing before we say the very last goodbyes, I wanted to remind you of where you can find more information about IRQB and about rail quality. Our channels, of course, make sure to look at our webpage, the irqb.org. But we are also available on social media, on LinkedIn, as well as on Twitter. And of course, we are also doing the IRQB bulletin. If you registered for this webinar, then there was also a question if you wish to subscribe. Many of you did. If you forgot to do it, you can still do it on the IRQB webpage, where we have all the information and all the articles. So make sure to follow us. And thank you very much for participating once again. I wish you a very, very nice day, evening, morning, whatever is in your time zone. Thank you and goodbye.